say ye organ had ye minim mo no ye de ye organ du ba bia utimi osafo ekwohye open nemu ubetimi achime say safo na di thread inti esa na safo no be de epon ntimi sa pepe na akwakoye say type 2 de no type 2 de ya na de akoye no say insulin no yes safo no ontimi me bia cells ni ma siche ntimi nko widie ni na cells ni mu inti esa na siche no eda e kan say umoja ni nipadua nso de nyankopon ya no say ni say eda umoja ni pi eda umoja ni a nipadua na nyansam no obehya say ene obedwunso ni nyina ato agu udwunso ni nyina ato gu nso no o se kom sade na afi wasaka che nipadua wakaka che nipadua say ene ekom de ntiridi wan ni de ene obekọ akwa ahodo na srade wo ho no akọ sere say mesre mo kom de mi nti mumma me srade ni bi na me na sichiri nti odan na sichiri a nipadua no still na am say insulin ntimi bie wapono akwa anketwa ntino na wasa besne kosa dwonso nti the making so do adwen bu abonse na o send pabonse na assault na afina insukomo dew na afina odi bepre nti ono no type 2 no ono no sa ni insulin nipadua ntimi so unse nipadua produce enough but nipadua ntimi enyusu nipadua ntimi so adentia azan say adentia nipadua ntimi yusu ni tietia ntintin nyina ne say eya na wakwa anketwa na sa cells no ya na srade akatakata ani nti ekobasa na kan say unipadua no entin fachi na wo mu jantin nya adwuma nti na akwa say wo de se kan edo se kan na no kuria esa wo do bre papa nti ye koso ne behunu ekwan sika no kuria ohawa wo faso ohawa wo kom ene wo nso so a nyinsenti na wanya sa ohaw no na senyinse obuo mu a ehwema che se wono di mfie aduasa ekona se aduasa no mu kono eya na omu efra obuo mu a sa ohaw etimi ba into ono de ya na ya ne se boniface gestational diabetes type 1 ye de be ka se mofra de ena se krampo mofra no omu ya akese broso no ye kan risk factor ye share risk factor no ne cover by na ibo so obuo no ma so ya akese broso a onso timinya sa type 2 diabetes ibi enti enmumuni enchemuni de se ema no ye fa no adesua famu de a yemu ahodom yensa wona onyema wonya sa ohaw no ne kofa ba de nim ena wonso so a wanyini a wonya sa ohaw no ene fibrin type 2 ena e wonso a wonyini ye woye motofoa na wonya sa ohaw no enso type 1 ti de be kire kwan fa so ne nyina e fa so eba ene wonso a ono a asa obi ono so a asa oni bi brim ka say pre-diabetes enti basically ne de ye type 1 ena type 2 ena ewo enti no ye hwe say type 1 de medical chim say omu pancreas no ena entimi nchi nsoro du a nipadua no ehia enti eno na de ohaw eba enti omu no management du ba bia ana se mpembe bre ne ho behia say emu insulin na ema mo ehweso pi ona ma hwe mu a obi o no manyame adom ye de aduane nko a na boa ya saa ohaw etimi ekoye no yebehwe saa nsohwe no yebe ma saa hweso no ena enti omu no se ye hwe kwan a ifa so eba nkankan motofo na hwe fa kwan ifa so eba ye frɛ bi se autoimmune na autoimmune no chesen ruba bi oni padua no ehunu wakwa ni bi se ase tamfo enti na wakwa na ekutia kan se yarewa no na ato ahye ne so enti ruba bi a onkwamwa no ayo immune system ehunu se akwa na ema insulin ne ba na produce insulin no a friend pancreas ne beta cells ne alpha cells na beta cells no ena omu boa se no padua no ebetia produce insulin no enti se eduba bi ne padua no se akwa we sei oya etamfo a no makoto ahye ne so o mafro masoja furu nyina asem besenye nkoto nhye omu so obehwe a enka ideally no enke hu asoja fo se omoto hye atamfo so na emom nya kroma fo so enti se ohwe immune system na onkwamwa na ye wa police fo wom ye wada fo wom ne wa asoja fo wom enti we die mo mfa police fo wom mfa asoja fo enti mo amatra Ghana kakra chen de mutumi se sa soja fo ba bi mo na se chese nsem no ai yai nyan enti akwa no nipadua no se abrante na se akwa we se wo ya itanfo na afi no o de bufu aba abre so ente saa o o de bufu aba to de bufu ba na ato ahye no so to hye no so saa na o sei saa akwa na so ma akwa na ho odin a obetumi ama obechechi nso no ho ekofom na afi ne ntimi produce enough enti omu ye type 1 so bo so a obetumi anya because of ebia virus amabobodin and obuom so a ye man milk enkankan cow milk in particular enti obuom man ne de no buy because say abra usa no ye command cow milk enti eno no etumi ekinyan saa yare no etima eba enkankan won na oye emofra no njan wa se enemofra no de no dɔɔso ɛna obuom so ya na efiri abusua na se abofra no abra no ohye afumu no nipadua no ne pancreas no anhyehyɛ yie because of poor nutrition poor nutrition in pregnancy maame na abra no onyem no no ne di yie enti amoa ama na abofra na kwa no entimi anhyehyɛ yie ana se entimi develop yie ekoba saa na etimi ma saa how na etimi eden eba se ohwɛ empanimfo de nso so a empanimfo de nhwɛ mu kyerɛ sɛ so ofa esichiare mu abupen ebisiare mu ebia ofa nipa be edu a omu esiare a emu be enkron anase mu be nwɔtwe de ɛyɛ empanimfo de abunfo ze type 2 no na mpembebre no enka efiri mfie aduanan ɛkɔ no ɛyɛ ade a etimba na emu ma kyerɛ mu sɛ obu ɔno a ɔso a ɔno so timi nya saa ɔhaw no bi na empanimfo de ende ya ɔmo no nyɛ sɛ bia nipadua no ntimi emma entimi nchi insulin no pancreas no ya na ho ntechimu na emom se insulin produce insulin na ayɛ sɛ sikan a ɔde dɔ no ano atoro enam sɛ saa cells na ɔwɔ sɛ nipadua no insulin no ebiebie ma ebesi nwura mu no ya na srade ayɛ akata ani enti ekoba saa na afei yɛsɛ wo nipa no yɛhwɛ wasikyire ne wɔ mu gya mu no wasikyire no ɛkɔ wo mo so no de ne kofa baa ne bi nse bi a obu on ma efrabusuam enti ayɛ sɛ baabi a okogya na ɔna ne ba so yɛden egyina enti no edu baabi a ya ne frabusuam obu on so nhwɛ mu so akyɛ sɛ before a mo tanya saa ɔhaw yi ɛno de ne kofa baa ba sɛ de enti a enya saa ɔhaw yi yenim na ye kan me sha se ne kan kyerɛ mu sɛ so oba na ebu mamu ase ana so oba ebibre mu a edu ba bia na yesu atra yehunu sɛ akane no nanka yesra no pa yekɔ adwuma yekɔnante a ebedidi kura na bia be nundu achi na ebe yɛ adwuma awia no pa awia na musa yɛ adwuma nso ne nte saa ɛne nyina obi yɛ hyɛ dem ɛnam sɛ adwuma nti me no enye wanwa sɛ yɛka sɛ saa ɛnoman ɛwɔ bifo mu a enye wanwa any environmental factors no kɛseɛ mmoroso obesity and overweight now the nti obu onma onya obu onma kɛseɛ broso a saa onya saa rin obi o kɛseɛ broso bia no ɛyɛ ade a wo hyɛ brɛ ne sɛ wo hyɛ brɛ ba ko a betenya ne sɛ esikyia de obetim no na konakra na the woman nyina ne sɛ the phrase glucose transporter 4 na glucose transporter no wona owo ono kɛseɛ broso no ɛyɛ anom ni padua no car ɛde esikyire no kɔwudie no ɛyɛ anom de swate enti sɛ obi kɛseɛ broso a saa ne car na ono kwakɔfa esikyire nja kɔwudie no ɛswate enti bia car no esua esikyire nso dɔɔso tina afi na esikyire no egyina mogya no mu so ɔbɛhwɛ a wɔn a wɔnyɛ esikyire no no mo so no bo se no mo so tia na ho so yɛden ɛtie into one of the recommendations up say esikyire no kɔfom a edu bi twa sɛ ɔma so te ɛkɔba saa na ebetumi aboa ama esikyire nso ayɛ normal now sɛ dem sikyire mu nso esei nipa pii na didi wie ya no makoda physical inactivity ana sɛ bi odi wie kro nkoda odi wie a ɔnyɛ hwee ɔtefaako za computer na etie ne mu saa ɛna esei kra so de aba no sɛ if say intercom ɔyɛ ɔfa afom a no afrɛ baabi a ɔmo sɛ nkɔsɔre ɛkɔ na bi a ɔkɔ interactive ɔde ɔfa afom ano afrɛ nti ɛsa na you become physically inactive nti sɛ na ɔmo ebi mɛmo ase a nkankan wɔn a ɔyɛ bank adwuma pii naa ɔsa ɔha yɛ a because ebi ogyina counter na no ontumi ɔnsɔre nkɔ baabi a nkurɔfo pii a mahwɛ ɔmo a because of physical activity nti no ɔmo nya saa ɔha yi nti nneɛma bi so adwuma bi so a ɛno tumi kɔba sɛ ti ma obi ɛnya hyiareɛ no ebi na ɛno nso egu apono so a mpanimfoɔ mo hwɛ yi na ebi wɔ nom a ɛyɛ sɛ bi a ɔpankras na ebi ɔyareɛ ɛna obi wɔ nso so a nnuro bi a yɛde ma awɔ minimu owura bi a ɔno no ne n'ani yɛ ne ya na n'ani yɛ ne ya no ɛna yɛma n'ani aduru na n'ani aduru na yɛde ma yɛka kyerɛ ne sɛ ida sɛ n'esikyire bɛkɔ so na n'ani efi clear anaasɛ n'ani ntumi aduru na ntumi anyina sɛ na n'esikyire bɛyɛ den ɛbɛkɔ so nti akɔ ɛkama yɛ sɛ aduru no ɔkɔbrɛ wɔn so na ɔso mpafen kyɛ sɛ aduru no ɛwɔm sɛ bɛboa ne nanso ɔno nyinaa na esikyire nso kɔ so afei duru baabi no n'ani na aduru no ntumi mmoa no ɔsɔ ne kyire na ɛkɔ so na ɛsɛ ɔsɔ yɛ den ɔsɛ ɛno nso ogya ɛnom nti duru baabi enu ahodoɔ bi wɔ ma ɛnom a etumi ma saa esikyire nso etumi ba ɛnea ɔsɛ duru baabi so ayarewa bi wɔ no nso tumi ma saa ɔha etumi ba nkyɛn pii na abɔfra bi a wɔde mfie bɛɛ edunsia edunson na abɔfra no ɔmo ɔbaa me office in fact school for baabi okɔ school no ɛna ɔmo refer sɛ ɔmra no me home na ne ti a wɔn nyinaa ne sɛ ɔmo hwɛ ne sikyire na sikyire wɔ soro ɛna ɔmo yɛ nso okay either sɛ ɔmo bɛwɔ ne ɔmo bɛhyɛ asɛ wɔ ne paneɛ anaasɛ na afei mo ama ne die mu nkyɛkyerɛ anaasɛ ɔbɛhwɛ sɛ bi ɔbɛdi die mu nkyɛkyerɛ so na etimi aboa ama ne sikyire na etimi akɔ fam ɛna ɔmo from ano maame ka kyɛn sɛ okay mo nhyɛ asɛ wɔ ne paneɛ ansa ɔmo deɛ ɔmo mmea mo mɛsi no nkɔhu dietitian no na ɔmo kɔ hu na ado no mbɛka no na ɔmo hu now na ɛyɛ yadeɛ bi a na yare bi ate sukuu mu ɔnom a mmɔfra no mu ebi dwonso ntɛntɛntɛntɛm tie ɛsa na mo obu ɔmo sikyire no ɛkɔ soro nti ɔmo yɛ nhwɛmɔ no sɛ yes sɛ ɛyɛ yare bi na ate sukuu mu a so mo manage yɛ asese no mmɔfra na ɔmo deɛ obu ɔmo ɛkɔ HB1C na ne deɛ ɛkɔ soro no sɛ ne nyanyame adom what treat that problem no ama esi nipa dodo na deɛ no mmɔfra na ɔmo sikyire wɔ soro no ɛna ɔmo treat that like ɔmo treat that yarewa no nti no esi amadodo na etimi deɛ etanti do bi wɔ no a yare bi wɔ no a etimi ɛba a etimi wɔ sikyire nso etimi ɛkɔ fam etimi wɔ sikyire etimi kɔ soro nti other course no ebi na ehu no wɔ ɛso yi yɛ deɛ memfa yɛadwene nkɔ so pii kyerɛ sɛ lab bi a bɛkɔ biara no ɔmo bɛkyerɛw their reference range sɛ wokɔ lab na yɛhwɛ wɔ sikyire no a reference range na bɛkyerɛ sɛ wowɔ ahyiareɛ anaasɛ wɔ borderline no so woda borderline no so anaa wɔ bi anaa nti ɛno deɛ memma yɛntwe yɛadwene nkɔ so pii ɛfa wɔn a ɔnyem a ɔnso nya ahyiareɛ no ɔmo deɛ no nhwɛmu akyɛ sɛ woyi nipa bɛɛ sɛ ɔha a ebi nipa bɛɛ mmienu anaasɛ num etimi nya saa ɔhaw no nti ɛno no yɛa ne yɛhwɛ ne saa sɛ yɛnhyɛ nim ne kɔfa bareɛ na mmom nhwɛmu kyerɛ sɛ ɛno nso kyerɛw sɛ daakye biara no ɛyɛ adeɛ a wobɛtumi nya ahyiareɛ ayɛ mpanimfoɔ deɛ no nti wɔn deɛ sometimes some of the literature na sɛ ɔka nwoma mu ka sɛ bi a malformation or poor formation of the placenta ɛna bi a ɛma no ɛkɔba na normal no yɛ ana ɛtɛ si a nyinsɛn mu a ɛkyɛ mu mmiɛnsa yɛ abosom mmiɛnsa ni kan abosom mmiɛnsa ɛtɔ soɔ ɛna abosome mmiɛnsa a ɛtwa toɔ koraa ntintimɛ bebree no ɛyɛ a ɛtɛ si wɔ abosome mmienu na ɛda ntɛm da second trimester ne third trimester ɛna na mpɛ bebree no ɛyɛ a nti woba Ghana ase a obi a ɔnbia na apart from say HIV test no hepatitis no san so say some of the labs abɛyɛ ne sɛ bɛhwɛ sɛ woni asikyia because wo asikyia ɛwɔ nsɛm a ebi bia ma abɔfra no kɛse bebree bɔ nkwa na tim mu ahwere abɔfra no bere bia na atwa ma wo mawu no kɔso bɔ ma no asikyia nso nyɛ nim na ebi wɔ nso etimi sɛ abɔfra no koraa nti ɛna yɛn nso de duba bi nso ti ma abɔfra no amamaame no agye sɛ yɛ paa wɔ ansa na etia yɛ de avia fu sɛ abɔfra no yɛ kɛseɛ boro so aboro mfɛn sɛ microsomia no nti yɛm no na so obi wɔ ahyiareɛ na ɔnyem a ɔhaw baako etimi kɔ ansa duba bi a etimi ma maame no otimi pɔn na sɛ etimi ma abɔfra no abere ni sɛ ɔsɔ ɔba no ɔyɛ den ɔba duba bi kɔ etimi ma abɔfra no wu tubo obetumi akɔ hospital ɛti abɔfra no ɔyɛ den wawu ɛnam so bɔ mu ɛsikyɛ no kɔɔ soro pii nti ɛsɛ etimi ma abɔfra no so etimi ɛhwɛ ne nkwa ɛna ebu nso a etimi ma nketenkete ɛnso etimi kyɛ abɔfra no aboro mfɛn sɛ hypoglycemia ha na bɛbu nso etimi ma abɔfra no yɛ kɛseɛ boro so a mɛka sɛ microsomia no ɔhaw edu baabi a wɔn a wɔnyɛ mo so nyɛ ɛsikyɛ na sɛ yɛn ho ne ntɛn ase an control ne yie a ɔhaw bi a etimi ɛde boro mu no ebi no sɛ obi nyɛ ɛsikyɛ bi sɛ broni fɛn sɛ type 2 na anaasɛ any other ɛsikyɛ biara no mpɛn bebree a na wɔm sɛ nsɛnkyɛnni nipa ntumi da yɛn etimi kɔba no sɛ obi wɔn a bibi ka kyerɛ sɛ obi wɔn nom a ɛnam sɛ ɛsikyɛ no nipadua no yɛ no sɛ ɛni sɛ ɛda mogya no mu pii a deɛ kɔba no sɛ ɛyɛ sɛ ɛbɛmo adwonsɔ ɔdwonsɔ no na nsukɔm so ɛɛde wo nti nsɛnkyɛnni ɛba no ɔdwonsɔ ne nsukɔm so ɛɛde no na afei nso no ɔdwonsɔ no nyinaa sɛ wodidi a na aduane na ɛwɔsɛ wodi ntɛntɛm nyinaa na adwonsɔ nti ɛsɛ nipadua nso okay ɛne maame nkɔ ɔsradeɛ no a sradeɛ no ɛmɛ nipa yɛ kɛse o maame nkɔ ɔsradeɛ no na maame nkɔgye sradeɛ no nti wokɔgye sradeɛ nso a na ɔsɔ te tutu a wogye sradeɛ no a na da ne sikyɛ no nso a nipadua nso ɛntumi ɛmfa asikyɛ nso ɛntumi nyɛ adwuma nti na afei na ɛma ɔsɔ yɛ den ɛɛte nti ɛsɛ na abom sɛ na ama wɔyɛ mmerɛ tɛm bi abom sɛ ɔno ma wayɛ hodwo nti bɛhu no o na ne mu odu ka mo sɛ ne so ate sɛ ɔsɛ biara ɔyare ɔnte apɔ saa nsɛnkyɛnni nyinaa tumi si obu ɔno kora na afei na nka ahyɛ sɛ ɛba ne ho ne nyinaa yɛ adeɛ a ɛyɛ nsɛnkyɛnni a ɛtumi ɛba na afei obu ɔno a ɔtumi ka sɛ afɛ ne nan soa ne nan no asɛ ne nsa no asɛ mpa no bi wɔ no anaasɛ ɔnte nka yie papa nti no yɛnum tumi yɛ nsɛnkyerɛnne a obi wɔ hɔnom a sɛ wonya yare no bi a ɛtumi ɛkɔba obi wɔ nso abɔ nso sɛ ne ho keka no ahoɔhene ne ho keka no ne nyinaa yɛ adeɛ nsɛnkyerɛnne a ɛtumi kɔba so obi wɔ no bi a wɔsɛ na so obi wɔ abɔ sɛ n'ani so ɛyɛ ne wisiwisi ne nyinaa yɛ nsɛnkyerɛnne a ɛtumi kɔba a yɛ na kyerɛ sɛ nipa no ɛwɔ ahyiareɛ sɛ ahyiareɛ kɔba na sɛ wɔn a yɛ amɔmɔden na yɛntumi ɛnsɔ ano a mpɛ bebree no adeɛ baako a ɛtɛ kum wɔn a wɔahyia broni fɛn sɛ hypoglycemia nketenkete obi wɔ nom a ndodoɔ no a wɔn a sɛkyɛ wɔn mpa ne ahodoɔ no a ɛtɛ kum pa nketenkete eti nketenkete a broni fɛn sɛ hypoglycemia na wɔn sɛ wada complications ɛwɔ hɔ nom a ɛtim ba na mmom dodoɔ naa no yɛ ana nketenkete mede m'ani fi a meyɛ adwuma ho sɛ nipa pii naa no yɛ ana nketenkete na taa nso ɛha wɔn ɛna ebi wɔn so a etimi ha wɔn ani sɛ yɛ amanegye a obi wɔn a wɔni obi wɔn nso a ne ju nso twaa nti wɔn sɛ wɔn a ɛwɔ akyɛ obi wɔn a yɛsɛ afei yɛ ɔsɛ ne to dialysis so obi wɔn a n'ani na afei na ɛha no obi wɔn nso timi nam so etimi nyɛ akomayareɛ obi wɔn so a afei ne nsa nnan tɛm biara no na ɔhaw ɔnam ɔhaw mu saa ɔsɛ ɔmentenka nti ɛno na edu baabi obi wɔn a na afei obi wɔn bi a ɔsɛ o wotimi koraa mente wodi bi koraa bɔ me koraa mente na ɛsɛ saa ɔhaw no na ɛno so ɛɛba nti yɛ ɔhaw pii a ɛtumi ɛba obi wɔn nso ekuro obi wɔn ekuro tu na ekuro nyɛ dɛn ɛnkɔ ne nyinaa yɛ ɔhaw a ɛyɛ ana sɛ obi ɛwɔ ahyiareɛ na sɛ wɔn amanegye ne yie a ɛtumi ɛkɔba nti sɛ obi wɔ ahyiareɛ na sɛ ne didie no ɔhaw ɛkɔba ho sɛ so wɔn ahyia nipa no du baabi a ne sradeɛ nso tumi kɔ soro nti sɛ wɔn bɛhwɛ a wɔn wɔ ahyiareɛ na sɛ obi ne bi koraa na sɛ odu baabi abɔ nsɛ ne sradeɛ nso tumi kɔ soro nti wɔn sɛ ɛkɔ dɔkota na ɔkɔ hospital abɔ nsɛ yɛama no cholesterol duro sɛ lipitol anaasɛ any statin drug biara na yɛde ama nsɛ bɛbi tia ba because wɔn nipadua no ɛkɔbɔ bosia ɛkɔbɔ ɔsradeɛ no bosia nti bosia nso ɛkɔbɔ a nipadua nso ntumi nsa anyusu na afei na saa da ne sradeɛ no yɛ dɛn na saa na nnam adi kan nso kyerɛ mu sɛ edu baabi a sradeɛ no a ataretare wɔ cells n'ani no ɛno nso yɛ ana ɛno nso ɛha cells no nti yɛnum nyinaa no ɛyɛ adeɛ a mmoa say obi wa siare a unya how obi ba bi anti a hwe carbohydrate ni a hwe fat ni a hwe protein na maame so nkyerɛ mu sɛ obi nya siare nso a mpembre wo so mu di low protein diet bo nso steam nya siare yɛn hwɛ mu sɛ nkura bi yɛ nkura bi a hyɛ da mu yɛ so mu de mu protein kura omo no yɛ starve mu kyɛe ɛyɛ ade omo mu nya siare nti bo protein level no low a baabi a etima nso nya siare na ɔkwan bɛ na ɛfa so a etimi kyɛ sɛ wei ɛwɔ siare na so etimi sɛ wei yɛ siare yɛ test ahodo a ɛyɛ oni frɛ bi sɛ random blood sugar ɛno yɛ abere a wɔde di awie wodi wie a ebuo ma kyɛkena sɛ any reference point no ɛboro reference point ne so a ɛsɛ wei deɛ ebi ɔsikyɛ no kɔ soro na ɛno nkoa ntumi nyina no nkoa so ntumi ka sɛ wɔ siare ɛne ɛwɔ fasting blood sugar nso sɛ wada asɔre ebi a fasting technically start between 8 to 12 hours into the wie a dɔnhwere bɛɛ nwɔtwe ɛkɔ bɛɛ dɔnhwere bɛɛ dumienu no afei du baabi a ne akɔ akɔhwɛ wɔsikyire no yɛkɔhwɛ a na sɛ ɛwɔ soro a ɛhɔ no deɛ ne yɛn nso yɛhwɛ sɛ ebi a obi anaso no bi now wɔn a wɔnyɛ no deɛ mpɛnbrɛ deɛ na ɛtaa yom yɛ oral glucose tolerance test OGTT wɔn sɛ etimi yɛ random fasting blood sugar ni na but mpɛnbrɛ deɛ ɛyɛ na normal no ɛtaa yi diagnose wɔn paa OGTT no ɛna yɛwɔ yɛfrɛ bi sɛ HbA1c no deɛ sɛ nipa no nipa nkankan ɛtaa de ma wɔn a wɔnyem no wɔn na ɛkɔhwɛ sɛ in the past 3 months sɛn na wɔsikyire no esi to adonko wɔ nipadua mu ɛkyɛ na wɔn gyam sɛ na esi to adonko wɔ nipadua mu ntia no yɛhwɛ na sɛ reference point na yɛ about the reference point ɛno deɛ ebi yɛ sɛ ɔbɛnten na asase ma si wei deɛ wɔnyɛ yare no bi nti nkankan HbA1c deɛ nyɛ na sɛ ɛboro the normal reference range deɛ a ɛhɔ na doctor no ɛhwɛ a ɔsɛ dabi woyan enya saa yare na sɛ wɔnya saa ne normal no the time ɛde determine now sɛ nipa nyɛ ɛsi ɛwie a then na ɔsɛ ehunu labs ahodoɔ a ɔsɛ ɛyɛ a ɛde determine now nipa nyɛ ɛsi ɛwie a ɛfa management goals na treatment goals what are treatment goals as dietitians and nutritionists yɛbɔ paa baako ne sɛ ɔhaw ahodoɔ a ɛwɔ ɛsiare akyi a ebetumi aba no ɛma koraa na sɛ ɔhaw a ɛwɔ akyire akyi no na nsɛnkyɛnne a ɛwɔ akyire no yɛbɛyi firi hɔ nom anaasɛ yɛmpɛ sɛ wɔsikyɛ no bɛkɔ soro pii na afei nso no adeɛ baako no sɛ ɔhaw ahodoɔ a mdi kan bɔɔbɔ so afira ne dwonsom yareɛ no na asefo nyinaa yɛmpɛ sɛ ɛno ba nti ɛno no nyinaa no ɛyɛ sɛ yɛbotan sɛ yɛnkɔdu saa beɛ hɔ na afei nso no yɛma yɛ saa deɛ woyɛ special a yɛn nyinaa yɛ nipa yare biara nkum nipa o so we want to maintain the quality of life ɛno no bɛboa yɛnyi wɔ ipa mu nti no yɛn botae paa ahodoɔ a sɛ yɛ manage wɔ asikyire a yɛn botae a ɛwɔ so ni now sɛ ɔfa didie mu a didie mu no yɛfrɛ bi sɛ medical nutrition therapy anaasɛ therapeutic lifestyle changes ɛno ɛne sɛn yɛwɔ sɛ in the management of diabetes in terms of diet and as in the general management your diet and exercise and you're independent like I say independent and you just planning I'm in the area abra a bit me ubit maintain because I have a lot of people in ranting about paying for PR omo doctor cry you may from models and I say doctor can say okay monko yɛmfa die ne ɔnom no ne apɔmkyerɛkyerɛ no ɛnhyɛ aseɛ ne yɛhwɛ but then let me state emphatically ideally obi a bɛnya ahyiadeɛ no nka ɛbɛtumi anka the first point of call no sɛ we must employ diet and exercise first na afei no sɛ anyɛ adwuma a na afei ɛsaa de yɛka bi a medication no aka ho ɛne ɔ diet exercise and then medication na medication no ɛyɛ boni friends oral hypoglycemia deɛ ɔde yɛnom ɛwɔ hɔ and your diet and exercise and insulin. Into one man, diet and exercise obey near man oral hypoglycemia met for me as if for one more benum and sustaining queer. Nothing that cost you boy said you want a panier. Into diet and exercise here, you can't do without it. Into a share and no matter who do in terms of diets, no, also you and in terms of exercise, also you I want to see a train yadriano. Now, ade baako a ɛbɛboa paa medika kyerɛ mu sɛ ade baako a ɛbɛboa wo sɛ woyɛ obi wahyia na sɛ wompɛ so binya ahyiare a apɔmtenten deɛ ɛyɛ ade a ɛho hia at least every day biara no sɛ bia bɛtumi exercise bɛyɛ 30 minutes koraa na ɛbɛboa wo nti mpɛ bebree a mekyerɛ tofo sɛ ebia wokɔ adwuma na ebia hwɛ baabi adwuma no wɔ no baabi a wobɛforo ka akɔsi adu baabi a wobɛtumi asi bɛyɛ 500 meters and ebia bɛyɛ 1 kilometer from your workplace na wanante and 10 times na ayɛ na akɔ na sɛ bia sɛ wofeel sɛ wokɔ no bia bɛlete bia wopɔn a ɛndeɛ you can ebia wobɛtumi akɔ bia nante bia bɛyɛ 1 kilometer before so bɛyɛ den wobɛfa car ne nyinaa yɛ form of exercise nti exercise ndeɛ brisk walking alone is enough. Brisk walking alone. Some people say, open more exercise. Then I recommend say, also who exercise physiologist. Exercise and how does it help? The comment is fast way boa. Medical actually say, if you boa maybe an stradia, and ma ne stradia no, boa mana stradia kata na atari themselves nani. Oh yes, as a team boa, Emma or sell a stradina atari themselves, meaning let me then, why. Sɛ ɛbɛyɛ a ɛbɛtumi aboa ma insulin no ɛtumi abie afroboɔ no so a exercise na sɛ insulin no ebia bia mekyerɛ mu sɛ ayɛ sɛ sekan sɛ wode sekan do na sɛ ano toro a ayɛ sɛ ɔyɛ den wose nti exercise no boa ma sekan no ano yɛ den ano ɛyɛ sɛ yɛka sɛ ɛboa a wode sɛ sekan no ɛno boa ma insulin no ano yɛ den ɛyɛ nam sɛ ɛbɛtumi ayɛ den abue wo sɛ nti no the exercise to also aid digestion ɛboa ma nipadua nso ɛtumi yɛ aduane yie. Nti exercise no apart from say ɛbɛboa ama srade atare cells n'ani no ɛbɛtumi awaawa no ɛbɛboa ma insulin nso ɛso ɛtumi ɛho ayɛ den na ɛho yɛ den saa na ɛtumi ɛboa ɛpatwɛ obi nsa wɔ soro okay so ɛpatwɛ nsa wɔ nsa wɔ so ɛpatwɛ bɛtumi akasa
we say deɛ na wakasa bi na baby a waduru no sisi a ne mu ɔde paa first one deɛ na education tiɛn deɛ na ahase na mpese meka se question bia wa hase ya be me se some media ekwan wo mu a utumi pagya wonsa na we bisa question we dey na me kai etiefo
okay tibacho befa questions kakra na bia ansa na beto aso no
oh opekra obetumi akode but akone pagya nensa Asubu question. Pania pijanesa.
Okay.
Pacho me dase. Pacho me question kitwa bi obi betimi enya symptoms say or just on tentem accommode no succommode ntem na onya diabetes ana.
Okay. You Madam Koni Busa say obi betimi ajonson tentem onum sun tentem and as for the Bianunya diabetes, sometimes it's possible. A on my ABA weather sometimes over you can say you Ghana has a dear. Say do be a weather no a hotter, especially January, February, March. Ayana it will be a weather near hotter. Where be a bones of Benum so piba yana onion so be brave. Ebi abitan so piba abian so brave. Mom ebi edu baby say be a wet season na edu wet season na edu baby a obetimi adwon obonso edu baby a wet season no onum so pia abadwon so pii na me yana de say eka kwa say bi edu baby a wet season no aye Ghana de edu baby a udidi a common share but your time bi on ma obo otimi di bebre obo on ma say odi bebre obo on so a onum so all right obo on ma e can say odwon so or odwon so. But it depends on the frequency. My brain it me one na profusely there. Then a horn you checking I say is the lab that will determine. Say checking lab na say unibi and then you have to check other conditions near. But you're waiting at question.
And na kakra so ne say once we diabetes mellitus no kan one say. Nti diabetes ne will be any mellitus and nya sichia tie no so with na ma symptoms no and diabetes insipidus but no very very nti sisia diabetes mellitus was in here Me patcho onipa mienu bi so Galaxy Epijanensa Galaxy.
Okay.
Mem say Galaxy den nensa na to. Mpatcho etumi koso.
Pacho, Madam Kwanya Pijanensa, who know her?
Ono ana obi sa question na bi.
Oh, okay. Already, okay, now, this year, no, share exercise and the benefits of the exercise in managing and the exercise is very important. It's very, 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 very important. And the idea we can't do without it. If you want to manage your sugar well, you can't do without it. If you haven't caught the so per se, let me share with you the slides on the diet plan. Now, if I the no, Adeba Kwa also. Sorry, I'm sharing with you the okay, all right. In terms of diet, no, there are rules, simple rules. Adeba Kwa medical can say but I have 4 simple rules. Don't. And no matter who do any way. But even with these days, those things are disputable. Don't any old do's.
Michael, who share slides be and answer questions na me go so.
Yeah, me share slide pachomo and answer and the munya hu.
Enya hu ye, ne also aye ne questions no.
Oh, okay. Then let me share that one. Let me share this one.
Just a wee would you wait free song.
Yeah. Okay. Let me share this one. Okay. Pacho Saba.
Pacho Afidiaba.
Yeah. So in terms of dietary management, do's and your don'ts. Na do's don'ts no. They say ya na etaka se na say the woman say enuane ya mfemfem ne pii no eno no na se enuane de sikyira hye no ade a ebeka chew say twe ho free home. Na same kind sometimes it's disputable kakra. In the sense say obi onuma ejina so ya abofra ya na normally entire man so much restriction because also onyini tino mo ye wo mu insulin no ton ye ebetumi ebetumi and the odu ebo ebetumi amana ebetumi allow no na so a penny the odu ebo ebetumi say okay you can avoid it now so you can restrict it say because odu ebo a medical change that there is no bad or good food because sometimes na complications that hypoglycemia and then ba normally be a say many is make us say corner then they could and you do a chance to restrict but then it do be say so much difficult so much idea because okay avoid and every time and then we know how to work on the other ones into your don't no simply put nuania yedi esichiri ashe as nuania emfemfem ne pii no idea mpem pii ka cho say twon free say enuane ade esichiri na emfemfem ne pii no etim onipa yakese ene etim so onipa esichiri so etimi ekosoro ntentem enti no eno ne etim ka say okay ene twon free home eto so twenam say midi kan chem say empese oha hodo bi so a esichiri etimi di ba no ekoba nti no edu ba bi a enuane ade nkyene ahye no etimi ka say okay enuane ade nkyene say nkonkom de ntwe nkonkom ne edu ba bi a sense nkyene ntwe mu a eya na esichiri twa mu esichiri so ntwa mu bi a na nwa so ade mu ma nkonkom ne mpempi ni sana anatie ti say de maken so bi abedi wadanse a nkonkom nuane can or bottle foods no say nkyene ntwa mu a na esichiri twa mu ana say anwa ahye mu ma intenu edu ba bi e jan say okay wait so I'm just giving general overview because minimum can say so bi a minim ba bi esichiri no eda intenu I can't give you specifics enti I can say okay be careful or be careful with canned or bottled foods because of one man yana esichi dɔɔso ana obu on ma enkyene twemu ana obu on bi anwa no ɛdɔɔso because medical akyere mu akwan a anwa no ɛfa so a ɛde bɛbobo asade no tatara o cells n'ani ɛna yɛmpɛ sɛ mugyaproso nso de no ba abɛgyim tie se ɛne enkyene ne yɛden te so enti because ɛno so wo esichi no kɔsoro a ɔhawa ɛno so etimi ɛkɔba sɛ obu on otimi nya mugyaproso nso so now sɛ uyi yenum so free on ma ɛnum abɛn na ɔsɛ yɛ the dudes no ɛyɛ sɛ one sɛ umu odua ɔsɔ tie if sɛ oso ante a nature will punish you. I always say that nature punishes before it teaches ɔbɔ adeɛ odi kan atwe aso ansa na wakyerɛ onyansa ho eduru baabi ase yɛ mi hu yanka ɛnso na kachi enti no eduru baabi a deɛ yɛ ana yɛ ne sɛ osu timi to so tenkyɛ sɛ ampa ɛho hia sɛ ɔbɛyɛ kɛseɛ aboro so nti sɛ ɔbɛhwɛ a enipa enyini kɔ wɔn mpanin fie mu a ɛyɛ ana eduru baabi a abosene nipa no na ne yam kwan kores na so didi kora na wɔntumi di bebree ɔsɛ odi wie kakra bi ano ama nkyɛ sɛ ka wɔkɔ anim no eni sɛ odi pii ɛnso eduru baabi a asetena pa ɛma refie nti no nipa di ma ne boro so ɛde saa ɔha no nso aba enti one of the things sɛ wɔn odu a ɔsɛ ɔsote ɛne yɛ very important. Okay, Epacho, Madam Rebecca, I'm on South Road. Hello, Madam Rebecca. Unmute your microphone. Okay, Mr. Galazi, I'm also on South Road. So what's me unmute your
what's my yeah, Pacho, me chair introduction now, yeah, not that you should have near the about Kwan, Obi Fast to be diabetes. Now, I said, beside me, I said, me, struggle, my human said, and you appear to be minimum last time to play major part. There were a young will be a billion was I see, including diabetes, and what is same. Now, so be a friend and vegetarian, person who say, obey to me a diabetes, easily. Now, say, a bit me a year so dear, be a more statistics teacher say, or more vegetarian, or more vegetarian, him for the donor more time, a call your real one. Meaning, say, more remove Kakafa, me that's it.
Okay, that's it, Mr. Galazi. And if you match yourself home, a didiamono. You did quantum your vegetarian diet or more impressive vegetarian diet. Now, vegetarian diet in Impono, you over vegetarian, you don't do kusian you lacto vegetarian also okay, me the milk beka, mediani mediano, medi food from plant source, bam the milk beka home. Ubuam so or say bia medi protein, medi milk beka home. Me the egg beka home. Ena ubuam so or say me the milk ne egg no beka home. Lacto ovo. Ena ye wo ubuam so or some vegetarian. Some vegetarian no there. Or no. Obedi aduane bia bi nso bibi ti say ebia enamono there on fan ka home. Ena ye wo vegans. Vegans no me a strict vegetarian on the ono on fa enam bia nka aduane awa dem. Odi no. Now, and if you more woman say, one na or yet vegetarians, no, yana sometimes a woman's many statistics of head. But what I've observed basically say, omomia vegetarians, no, a yana very few, in fact, very, very few, or very, very few, and to me, in ya sao how you say the risk factors for diabetes, no, several, and see, very, very few. A very, very few pa, and to be one man. In to be honest with you, no question will say, if you're able to identify the root cause or the major risk factor of your condition, you can easily eliminate the condition. That's a fact. But sometimes no, you better maybe or how no as but if you're able to really identify the root cause now, we can easily eliminate it, and it's very important. Vegetarian but then for what I know, no, a final this lipidemia and hypercholesterolemia, no, if you compare vegetarians to non-vegetarians now, non-vegetarians normally they are more higher risk as compared to the vegetarians. In terms of vegetarians, in terms of development of diabetes, make me like I say, even though I don't have the statistics, but then I know for a fact that very few, in fact, very few. Sometimes if you practice vegetarian diet, it may boa Emma Ubuonma was it may cough it may normal. Now, may find the quantum power make vegetarian diet and so on. Your Mediterranean diet and so on. Mediterranean diet, more East Africa, Israel, those Spain, in fact, the part of the call Mediterranean diet. Those in the Mediterranean region, and also it will be between Bois Emma based on the diet plan now be following. And your BBC man say dash diet approach stop hypertension. Man follow that dash diet plan now. It is constituent the quantum pom. Mama Tragana no obu on ma osmefa plane ako Accra and obu on car akwa Accra no bo so bia mete bicycle so enti nyina dia quantum pound do na asa kwan do a se meva obi kwa Accra obetumi afa aiden ako na yenum nyina ne friend dia quantum pound no the medical can say your vegetarian diet dietary pattern and your Mediterranean diet your other dietary partner ebetumi abobo so but and then yes so much the dietary pattern but then we can still use some of the dietary patterns to manage some of the conditions. And from statistics I don't have specific statistics to give out, but then for a fact from my experience what I've realized is most of the non-vegetarians most often get the condition as compared to vegetarians but I can't give specific figures. Say if I don't know whether you are okay with what I've said so far. Yes, I better work with the management and so.
Yeah, that's a part of it.
Okay, Doc, so now we'll start to be a person of the support to her. Carry on.
The BBMs and Asamna no wakano. The risks of diabetes no vegetarian life now. You eliminate a lot of the risks into the evidence. They say those who are vegans are at less risk than vegetarians who are less risk than meat-eating people. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Because to be a vegetarian, or some you stand at a risk. But most of what I've observed is that both vegetarians, do one I can see I'm also in the something. Yeah, the dudes and normal also here to maintain good blood glucose level.
Now,
one
my
time of
was slide CB, I won't shut down full slide again. Okay, all right. I'm making sure.
Okay, okay. All right. We know the specifics for some people, but yes, Madam Rebecca, I think that was true.
Yeah, me pacho. Ni mi bisa ni say biana family me free mono. E bia no more if you want for near diabetes or more diabetes. Me so kwan bed meet me afa so prevent me ho say me nya bi.
Okay.
And a secondly, so e bia me fa ni say na o pesa wo check your glucose near so wo your friends say middle rate and say me refi say no musican. Almost so lie.
Borderline.
Borderline. I know so no. A draw here son be who say me wo borderline. Question me no.
All right. So me fa say oko check here a better one will be a baby borderline now. Normally original glucometer no so. And I say laboratory reagent no use here no eso. Ha self baby abeko bia no ye wo ye check sugar na glucometer no oma reference range glucose strips no oma reference range in the we don't really have a very hard and fast rule about it into kwa no mo check here okay reference range in ye say random blood sugar baby all said that and I fasting blood sugar say bia we need and so also baby all said that and HbA1c for the past 3 months no sɛ wɔsi kyie no esi to adonko nipadua mu a ɛnso wɔ baabi a ɛno nso ɔsɛ da nti ebegyina glucometer no so na glucometer strips na yɛ use na ɛbɛkyerɛ wɔn na ɛbɛkyerɛ reference range na sɛ reagent na yɛde yɛ analysis na yɛ normal reference range ɛna ɛbɛkyerɛ nti ɛhɔ no kakra mɛka menim sɛ bi a doc di bɛka wansa na yɛkɔ prevention so a
na family one no so
yes okay family one no yeah ne obi sɛ ufra ntomago a wonim prepare agro nti no wo a ufra ntomago no ayi mekyɛ sɛ wo a yɛare bi wo abusua mu deɛ ɛno kyɛ sɛ ɔno ma ahodoɔ bi wɔ no a ɛni sɛ woyɛ ɛne edi kan bɔɔbɔ so ebie no sɛ the don'ts no you try as much as possible say you don't do them. For instance, in my case, we say any say in your film the bottled foods no. Sometimes even the chemicals that we use to preserve the food no it's me facilitate your development of the condition. It's important say bottled and canned foods, especially those foods that are refined foods no. Modern say obetron ho afri ho na say obete so kra because be but also then ote so kra and it also pion so no enuane a eden chine ahye no so no as much as possible ote so and it also pion say but modern say onye kese pi you maintain a regular body weight. Your weight and your height must correspond. The person can say 7 fans say be or height be 180 centimeters. Your weight must be around 80 kilograms. That's ideally that should be. If you say broadcast index, you know, your height in centimeters minus 100. For instance, a fan say be over 170 centimeters as your height. Your weight ideally should be 70 kilograms. Now say share umudo no 10 to 1 according to BMI no between 18.5 to 24.9. You must fall within the normal. But it is also so typical. You shouldn't be underweight because if you're also underweight, you're also at higher risk of also developing the condition. And you know, I also say you must maintain a normal body weight to check BMI nature say normal body weight. And then two, I never could also say any say uma ofu kesiye. You should avoid as much as possible avoid abdominal obesity. Now abdominal obesity no bo on ma and you did na did we are that nyinaa timi ma saa ɔhaw no nso etimi eba enti abdominal obesity no sɛ nhwɛmu kyerɛ sɛ obi a wɔ abdominal obesity no ɛso biara no that fat over there no is difficult for the body to utilize it ɛno nso timi ma onya sikyia enti bɔmɔden sɛ wɔfu no ɛyɛ kɛse a ɔsɔ ɔte so sɛ wɔante so a ɛbɛtumi ama saa ɔhaw no ayɛ dɛn aba enti ɛno ɛyɛ very important. In prevention, can prevention and management we can understand it very well. Enti don't now also any do's nibi. Now, do's no time of eating is very important. Time of eating is very, very important. You must be consistent because our body so much as can probably between 7 and 8 medidi. We are 12 to medidi, and you 5, 6 medidi. Do it like that. Be consistent with it. If you are consistent, your body now it will adjust to the correct consistency. The bad thing say it will be a share, and then don't overeat. Overeating is something that in Pempino, Ayana, Itima, Ekesi, Ebroso. And as much as possible, we must avoid overeating. So I'll share with you, memoir said, yeah, see, I will be a friend said triple burden of malnutrition. Now, triple burden of malnutrition, what do you mean to say? Say, our friend is so I see when you're Koshoko and as when you're Marasmus. When you know, and I'm saying a common day na change na for you know, or so from we be a fat. She's over a baby member saying, you subani say, any parent baby nice half with me to dear, after a say, a dear, or so demand broso. Now, for a back a shamana broso, into from undernutrition to overnutrition, into be a fool. And I feel so. Your back could be a friend say hidden hunger. Hidden hunger, no. And no, and none when do nipper say. A common name may a from common comma a dewa a day and yarwa eba ebisabia vitamin A deficiency, iron deficiency, iodine deficiency, zinc deficiency na for yenum ne no kitwawa and no micronutrient deficiency friends a hidden hunger. If say bisabia who say we are seeing one one from about half of them is as a result of vitamin A deficiency. Now, ba say iron so swap. Iron deficiency is killing a lot of people. So share a fab BCBA death in pregnancy, corona, or maternal mortality, sometimes because of iron deficiency. You want to say this triple burden of malnutrition, it predisposes the person to sa condition ya make wasemi. It as much as possible, make sure say nyame ya wadom na unya bi mane broswa and trust in the food and then di mane mroso. Modern say tenga be dia mana broso no ka fire atoye eno kwa so ya ade enso timi bua ema yarewa bebre nso etimi free honum. Now ye koye nim so no na mesan so actually mu say apart from time of eating, quantity of eating is also very important. You can't time wasem. Be regular with the time, be constant with the time of eating. And then 2, quantity of eating. Don't overeat. In fact, quantity of eating, don't overeat. As you've seen here, no. Obi ono ma afin when yesika. International so baby ni bebre. We sa emboa. You only end up accumulating more fat because your hidden fat room. Well, then I'm the protein. No, we have something hidden fat, especially trans fat. Trans fat na idea a kumni papi. And ka idin ka benya krana and ka you can say oh chi idea. Who say a tutu ba anwana ni echesa anwano. Now it has turned to hidden fat. Now it has turned to trans fat. Sorry, it has turned to trans fat. Enti trans fat no udia edo how bad and bro. Enti nyani action when be brain as much as possible you reduce it because it contributes a lot to obesity and also developing high cholesterol levels. In the quantity of eating is very, very, very important. And then let me state categorically say, the amount of food that you eat, it depends on your physical activity. And it also depends on your body weight. Very important. And the amount of food that you eat, is very important. And to give a free or liberal leeway, don't overeat. Now, what is the quantity of food your food must be fiber-based. Fiber-based. It just say we dey wood just say ntete den ewomu. Na nnuane ntete womu de mo de nyame adom mo amanone de enhama nnuane ya de ntete wom, nnuaba so ya de ntete wom. Enti eno ebeboa yen enhama nnuane. In fact, to be very honest with all of us, never live a day without eating raw food. If you want to avoid some of this condition, never live a day without eating raw food. When you eat raw food, it regenerates your body, it regenerates your system, your cells. You are okay, you are good. And fire-based foods, vegetables, papa. And my kind of quantity of food, fiber-based foods, very important. And also you. And now, it also fruits are very important. So when you are eating, I never call session and say, don't overeat in all. Whether being the starches, we shouldn't overeat it. Now, vegetables, as much as you can, there's no limit as to how much you can consume. It's very important. And you be a person consume behind you how be our home because vegetables, the entire vegetables, fruits, they contain what we call soluble and insoluble fiber. Na soluble fiber no de ono de oya ni so ono boa e masra de bone no timi kofom e bon asra de bone no a tare wakwa anketom na cells ni itimi efukuru ni nyina de efi onom e na insoluble fiber no so be boa e ma de dika no woyam intim we say woyam intim so a insoluble fiber no it serves as a colander a sonye no inteduane no e yam a e boma esi ni komodjem kakra yenka mamenka hye say aduane bia na esichiri enti se okọ a doctor say kohwe wasichiri aduane wadie no na esichiri enti no aduane ni se di pi enti aduane so say ma entete no edos fiber base no enti say banku say edokono say kan say ye buru aduane ahodo emo oats tombra no nyina na ya ade a obenya bi wom mo ama no de aduane bebre ho no ma in fact na fiber fiber content in the food. Bread, no wheat bread, very nice. Your when you be there in all no reduce the quantity. With the moderation the key. Whether when you moderation the quantity. And I believe say very bad for the vegetables here. No limit as to how much you can consume. Now, we a simple recipe. Now, lastly, apart from time, quantity, medical say that your amount of food that you eat must depend on your physical activity, and then your body weight is very important. And then the fiber-based foods, in this case, fruits and vegetables, and then you must always add raw food to your diet. In fact, the staples, say banku, say mu, say fufu, say no cabinia, the carry vegetables and sana be dear no idea ready. Now, if you wire one quiet, yes, Madam Rebecca.
Me pacho. Doctor, ni mi bisa sisi ya ne say. Ade nti na nipa ni bi wo ho a wo mo ye nketo pa wo mo didi pa. Ebi nso wo ho a wo so nso odidi. Obi nso wo ho a wo so wo mpeduane. Edi nti na ba ne sa.
Okay, you will be on the rate of metabolism. You will be on the rate of metabolism. There are people that on rate of metabolism here high. If you're not 20 per year, I am intentem. And you born so the rate of metabolism here low. Ubuo mo dia osmika krebi adma me. Into obi of the whole do diba ko pe on dibi na ubuo dia no pa aisa nyumre. Ubuo so dia no pa wi anyum ubuo so say this snack in between. Into sometimes you depend on the rate of metabolism. Ubi ani pedua. Everybody and his body chemistry. Into ubia anko because of rate of metabolism. And this are ensonsuano eba. Into eno yenshen enson. Now, foods to limits no and the medical bobo biswa ewaha into out to avoid no medical bobo biswa eno ewaha be brain no as we see on the screen no those the don'ts no sugar and all those things no the idea you can just as much as possible either reduce or avoid it altogether. And to be honest with you, when you are doing this, it's not only diabetes maybe or managing you. Name conditions be arthritis no idea. If you say situation we no pay, I never quite say situation we no pay. And he said, yes, Madam Connie.
Me pacho, me question with the pacho me all positive no. They can bet me any biana, bet me any because there will be a catcher me as the next be catcher me and say me all positive no said the okay metabolism no acid ta ye munti no ya mediane tentem enti menim say ahode anase me kan say starch and glucose ebe wo ni nipeduam no ebe dose sa na.
Okay, that's it. Whether you are O positive or you are O negative or you are A or B or AB whatsoever, it doesn't matter your blood group because the risk factors they cover by an dose. They cover by a dose P. And here very important. Risk factors and a battery into your O positive or one and your faho. Because if you are O positive now the say and maybe one more physically inactive as if you can contract the condition. In the end, it doesn't matter your blood group. With us also normally more O positive and say group O for also, but that's not to say if you are in any other group you can't get also, but you are certain blood group especially also most common I know about it. No but any other question? Madam Rebecca on also.
Oh, but maybe say
Okay. Okay. All right. Yes.
So what are the fruits without food in your tummy? Within no quasa no and so be also say be our sugar because rana ibisa.
But also tell you
so would fruits are new year
fruits
as and when you be also say be a sugar level across rana.
Okay. All right. You only say Obi out the dear was it the cost. What I always share only is your decision cost. Name we expect say bed drop. So be a you cost. Name you expect say bed drop. Now your fruits ni bo ma boni friend be say bia high glycemic index foods. Now, high glycemic index foods, no, watermelon is one of those high glycemic index foods. There's another method of cooking. It may be a high glycemic index food. Say, be a ma, ya no, ya check, and maybe high glycemic index foods. Now, say, obi is shared that. Now, it won't say in your buyer dear. Name more than a PIA, it will be a team, the situation, it will cost you P. And now, obi on swa, unyes chiare, name odi fruits no di, but odi man proso, and even though it's good. Too much of everything is what becomes bad for you until on the Mecca or Honono. Mr. Eboa. Hello, Mr. Eboa. Hello, Mr. Eboa.
Yeah.
Ebacho, Mr. Eboa, I was true. Okay. So, Mr. Eboa and Casadia, okay. Mr. Osujan.
Maybe the other say, a fruit, you know. Yana, I say, so baby fruit, so I just said, what the kind I the meal be answer, and son what the fruit, no, I was yes, sir. Send and I just busana, so the fruit, no, once I or brownie kind of ya. I don't know, it's me, honey, pediano. It's a person who said, any answer the fruits, no, so, and I say, any fruit, no, mum. Na break akra mam ansa na yadi meal na nkasa bia yedi.
All right. More akwantu mu ndie. Yebeka say kwesi broni ndie oya first course, second course and a third course. First course, second course and so the your first course, second course and third course. Now normally no, e be anka first course no e bia vegetables bi. Nwedi. And I say bia juice bia why they no ano. It is second course bia anka nkwan and juice bi no ano. And so na afi bodi ni Adam ni meal no. Now whether to eat fruit before or after meals, no, this is it. We, dear friend, diet therapy, no, we want your food to become your medicine also becomes your food. Now, you want my person also tia, do we encourage okay, the kind of fruits and our vegetables, no, and sana kind of say what do you pan. But then it will be swa. For instance, me person will be more basra, maybe to say anka, iron enhancing foods. Make actually say, what did you hear? No Diego so. And about boa Emma, Pedianet me iron no, I walk at the end of the animal. It depends on the therapeutic purpose of your dietary pattern. It is a main fan say, per se, or did the accounting per se, if you want to take care of this condition, or how you are woman, if you ever say, beer, oh, would the candy at your banner, and son, what the would you and a pan. And maybe the candy would you and powder be the abanade eguso. Now, at the back when Shannon say there are two schools of thought. Ebinum say the kind edi ediabana fiso di ediabana ebe boa ma undi ediane aka no bebre ana say eno boa ma insu ayam enuana say the fruits will help the body to release a lot of digestive juices. If say enuabano ne dwumadi pa ba ko no say be boa am release a lot of digestive juices. Enti no say odi aduaba no na say wo digestive juice na insu ayam aduano enya nhwe nwu yafunu mu a afi bi tim a yafunu den eya oya ebinum so say odi aduane wie na bi odi aduaba gusu a de koba no say aduane ekura if you say na say chini den edoso enti no there are two schools of thought ebinum en ka say okay the candy answer no di ubu so di wie but me mo de my point of view is say shedie eno ho fa na e follow but sometimes it depends on the therapeutic pattern. Say me fan say per se if I want to manage you with a certain quality do make say bia the candy aduaba ni wi and the candy vegetables ni wi na afi wi an wadi aduana no and bia udi aduana wi a the vegetables na dey every because of certain dietary I want your food to become medicine so I want to have a certain way a bit aboa ama aduana wudi no a bit aboa na tia saw yare to a certain extent. Into no there are no hard and fast rule about it but then sometimes you have to look at your body and see what will happen, because as I've said, no, say you want your food to be your medicine. Diet therapy, you want your food to become a medicine, you know, and do a bit dependent. I say, no one quite you can say, okay, do we the can man san also no one way to can even as you no one quite now as you can, and if you can walk in, so you can once and you then what did it anyway do one so what did we are why then no one it depends on the type of management you're based in a do firm, and it all depends on the health purpose. So that is why it's important. I also when you say a do baby also who obia won and cheche. Now if you know a guide though, a born man, your warm corner, woman divie, now divia benuguswa. Now my check, one so divi, would me a benuvia, as I know, it's me wow. So it depends on the person, health. And also, no, I would say there is no hard and fast rule about it. Now, going forward, some of the things also to avoid. I'm just mixing them like that. Foods, you know, alcohol. I would say emphatically say you have to avoid, and then fatty meat. I would say emphatically say you have to avoid as much as possible, and then artificial flavors. In fact, no question when we say in Ghana to hite, and now I'm not say nipa pine nya mujaproso, and I'm starting to do now the artificial flavors. Ekomoduana home. It me mum kamaka say bia unya garlic, unya ginger, unya turmeric, and turmeric, unya cinnamon, unya those natural spice na the year aduane. Me feel say another because they are all medicine, they are all natural medicine. Udia itimi eboa. And here we hold it just sample menu. But let me say that breakfast, lunch, and supper, they are all terms. Breakfast, lunch, and supper, they are all terms. There is no specific food designed for breakfast, lunch, or supper. It depends on what you have. Into breakfast, lunch, and supper, they are all terms. Into ebuan mucha butu. Ebia anopa obedi emo ana pisi ana fu ana sebia banku ana bia aduane bi opesodi. Na ebia awia no wadi ebia ana pisi ana body ana se di obedi no anopa na ebia nwumene bi wadi kokonu ane no. Wadi kokonu ane bia avance bia oat ana tom brown ana se wheat ana Weetabix ana se any other porridges bia ya available bia na ebia wadi kakra. So somebody who says in the morning eat like a king, in the afternoon eat like a queen, and in the evening eat like a pauper. And upon did you say or hine? If you are not this or him, then you may know what you say then will be a hiano. It's no one a normal person and soon say you did kind of say one time of eating is very important. There's what you know the quantity of food that you eat. The quantity of food depends on your body weight and then your physical activity. And then the same food now, so the food should be fiber based. And then as much as possible, avoid late eating. You can't late eat now. Obi on ma, if you're between the best 7, but if you are not that, you have eaten late. Obi on maybe I'm say, around be a bear 9, if you are not that, you have eaten late. And as much as possible, avoid late eating. In fact, with you must sit for about 2 to 3 hours. And no, it's me boa median to me a yam sabia. Would you be a momba or book? The pediatric me Adriana would you know, as me a juma. Now, Adeba Kusuan say exercise is very important. Exercise is very important. As much as possible, you must exercise as well if you want to maintain a good health. Now, my main son can say, you only know Biswa and also a boa Nipediani ye power mobile free. It's year. It is a chromium, a micronutrient, very important for management of diabetes. Selenium, a very and a vitamin D. You know the reason why in TNA SCRA air pin say medical can say nay any papina shadem na say 40 or boy dear we are the also care to the power of care to you have to attraction. In so to sad and so to china, ever more situate me I then acostro. And you also if you want to manage your sugar well, morning sunlight, don't joke with it, and evening sunlight, these two, don't joke with them. Now say if you don't joke with them, I bet it sir a Rihanna autumn. And you know, yes, say be a boy almost change of more, and I think the bad so ama cholesterol so it's me a question. I say a boy maunum prim so it's me I didn't. So if you want to manage sugar well, if you want to prevent it, one, exercise is important. Time of eating is also important. The quantity of food that you eat, the quantity, should be fiber-based foods is very important. And then as much as possible, avoid you kind of say refined foods, especially can and bottle foods or drinks. As much as when you avoid them, you feel a bit, but then be consistent with the time of eating. And I believe, say, we are no ma kakraya makanya, ubitimi abo ho ban free, yarwa pii ho a ebiti aboa, and as all yaren ko ebiti aboa ma exchange so etimi atena you live your normal lifestyle. Epacho mema kwan na bia se bisa bi won ma ebusafo etimi ebusa.
Doc, Mpacho, wait to me a question.
Pacho.
Yo, I idea. You better was na your teacher ama say and she say half for ni wa kwabo na fi mu adisua mo dia maye. Pacho, the kind no say me tie o ka say twa to sisi ya na wo ka wia ho faso. Say fa di no mo no say na wo kan say hahama ni your friend is saying fresh fruits no be boa bet. Fa wia no em say ha say wia no ne Ghana de no. Nya de kro nti se me giri se senka ni yemu pa dia o senka yan titi nyunyuni mu yomu a na kafi bia no wa be hata ho kakra wa Africa so nka no be boa na fe de to so mienu so ne se adisua no ye kama se ye message ye spread no across the world nti no kwa bi wo ho bia in conjunction with health minister na omo de wa be nka ye betimi anya mo church se papa yi bi wo bia small you be say bia mo be summary na kakra na ke nya na ke dia WhatsApp nkrofo me just can no so no evangelism no kwan bia betimi aboa pa bi say book no de mani pa na o kan first page ya na watum no de ato ho na se koye set tinti bebre sukra so o ya uti na ne bofu but se ko ba half dia ene don hwere mienu kura nipa be tran fi say half dia mra bia nyankopon mra nsem o dia mai mu ba ko a se woto na se nyame kura de chewa abode ne chana nkasa ebeji nia wo afiri ho no ti am say no na me pese me de banti de dika no de ye awia no na fe de to so me no ye kwan be na ye betimi afa so na nka message setisi no yetimi anya in a simple form na ye de spread across the world me da mishram
as me water dey be black bay.
Okay, said you see kaya no and say constitution ya me chia na eden echo enti no edu ba bi a oba oma na beton wi akra etimi boa if you say kwasi broni nko na also nko edu ba bi aba na eno kra sometimes crampo free of mind for akoma for edu ba bi nko aso tima is a good rest too. One thing I forgot to add and say rest is also very important. Rest sometimes stress correct me contribute some of the rest now oba wo hwe sceneries na se for no and do be answer to me are you involving yourself in family matters na the phone and on socialization because unlike mo ho ye ha de ye kwa yie obi tumi fro maybe style saying but how de ntesa obi a sore a okona djuma obi a djuma nti do be a stress but ha de can say kwa nu say ye to down me say sometimes we are busy but still na no ye culture no ye lose ni sa the fact that do ba bia oba now but netem bia nso timi bua in the way one way or the other so they do ba bia me hwe TV so a we ani pia ya na abrofo ko de wie mu no so de omu de no na interestingly let me add that one abrofo no say if the white man exposes his body to about maybe say 10 minutes the amount of vitamin D and impediment between generating is high as compared to black man. Black man, you may need more hours to get that vitamin D now. So sometimes when you can over fear and to me some way somehow. I think that the other one here, the health department will look at it. Mr. Samuel, Pacho on South Shore. Hello, Mr. Samuel. Hello. Okay, Mr.
Hello.
Yeah, Pacho.
Maybe some background. So can be
okay, go ahead.
Vegetables, so do anyhow how much you can eat, you can eat it. But yes, so no, the raw ha would be a slow sugar because and have fruits, no. fruits no no how much and what kind of fruits and I would do as a diabetes no because diabetes in particularly fruits we are yet to make semi because of a drone because me say no drone say me need a friend saying the other one you can say grapes need grapes and and then fruit now dear I don't want dear more and answer well head said the way I can well head and over qua and I'll be dear now say a beer or I said
okay
and thirdly Adrian GMOs me did be to start starchy food be a M1 I dear me dear boy pie apart from plantain Meeting on the pay, made the plantains me near than be a come and answer the bisa. Now, send a bay a bit me a one. You make me a become a baby one.
Oh, okay. May I say, you only say, say, would the Adriana Bacos, it also affects your health. We call it monotonous diet. Just Adriana, there's no single food that contains all the nutrients that your body needs. Any aduane baako pa ewo nuanu ni paduane nyina ni ebema ni paduane nuanu ni paduane nyina hia nje sa so ntumi nsuanso bone ewo wapon so enti there is no single food. Now you will be a friend that food and drug interaction you nuani bo on ma on maduro bi a ye beka say bi ate so na say jadi but so jadi no mje ya betumi adi so depending on the drug now no na be che say bi ani we say e bi abete so and I say be we dear suspending for the meantime. However, we have alternative a bit amount you know now be here because as I said, selenium, chromium, vitamin D are very important in the management of diabetes. And you know now can you answer because vitamin B1, B2, B3, they all help in mobua emma you know say protein carbohydrate fat in me but me yam and they are very important. And Tihono say, yeah, mouth, menka say the body and it also has effects in the long term. Ubetia the mo kakra, ubetia the banku kakra, ubetia the kenki kakra, ubetia the any other food be after say, obese wooden name the FM from the United States, take it out. Now, so vegetable, and in this case, no. The kind of vegetables now sound why they what the you can say main meal no enti no betumi aboa na etumi aboa ma sechin so etumi akofom. However it will be depend on the quantity na woody no the quantity so do so eno timi sechin so etumi cost. I've said too much of everything is bad, even good thing becomes bad enti esa na so etumi do how never and we we are then now ye obo on the we why check ko anya hwe then sugar will go up. Into every team of sugar no to me a cost. But then say if other things also in our year, I seem to drag now. I'm very much sure say your sugar will go down. No matter what, your sugar will go down. Your sugar must go down from my experience. No. Mr. Brew on South Shore.
Them say obisa question back my main fa no answer man.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
O say a drobi o ho no ma untumi ennom na wonfa aduane bi no. Enti there were a few specifics. Enti wo nom cholesterol edro a untumi endi grapefruit. Enye grapes or grapefruit.
Yeah.
Cholesterol edro untumi endi grapefruit. Wo nom warfarin na eniama te say spinach ni kontomire ni some greens bro no ma. Warfarin no any side greens no en shadam ko. Mu wo yare bi so a eye te say heartburns a acidic enuane binom to say tomatoes any anka tradie de sanima no enheda emwati onum edreye for heartburns ana also sanima no nse kakra me de beka hu na dem say opinion Ferguson house ro
Mr. Ferguson. Hello Mr. Ferguson.
Yon pamcho ai dog mpacho mbeza musa se fruits are somehow okay no say o blended foods na say you know what dear. What is the difference between say raw no now o blend? Now o blend can you blend variety of fruits? Now can you now blend it at the animal now? And I may pay.
Okay, me that's it. Blend of fruits, eating the fruits raw. No. Or sometimes blend you more blend ya. No sieve so be sieve. U sieve fiber no. Ena unya. Okay. Say raw, you get all the fiber. Then the body will also start digestion altogether. If you say after na berisa, the body may take time and sana digest. Digestion takes a bit of time. And all the fibers probably you get all the fiber because fibers to do a bien so certain nobi woman to me eboa. And to reduce cholesterol to prevent constipation in idea and suit me eboa. Now, if in terms of say over blend the albanum no, on send do a beer you roughage now fiber and film. And I say fiber very low. There's an as compared to so within the raw, the fiber content will be different, and here one factor. And then the rate of digestion, and no a liquid into the can easily digest it and then absorb. The can easily absorb it as compared to be within the raw, it will take time and sana the absorb when so as drinking so taking as drinking. Sometimes it can easily raise the sugar level, especially to be always area. Now, in terms of say, okay, no, say, with the exception of watermelon, watermelon, I say, other fruits, no, but with the other fruits, you can still combine. But then let me state it here, say, some of the one more allergy, some of one might be a man allergy, and because you want to prevent allergy, sometimes, no. So, okay, me dear be a quadra, me any allergic reaction. Me dear and be allergic reaction. Me di a problem allergic reaction there. There you can combine. But those all combine cranas or blend there. And because each and every one of them has different sugar rate, has different glucose rate or range. In that case, you just have to be careful. Still, you can still combine it. There's no problem with that. But then, in terms of consumption, then you have to be very careful. As even when you can still combine, but then you have to just take it in moderation. I think that becomes the key.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. And Madam Eunice, Madam Eunice.
Me that's it. Now me Pastor Fergus then I may want to say. In terms of fiber, no, so no smoothie, then when you the full content of the fiber, no, now we are juicing no na not to say to fiber nego no, and to retain the fiber, no, not the smoothie, not to say one no, instead of juicing, that's it.
Okay, that's it. And even with that in Pukra, as I said, for therapeutic purposes, sometimes we on my word and we require say obey no juice no one obi on maybe or entire feed and as we on my obi on to kakra you be in so liquid diet maybe a recommend. In that case when you are following that it helps. But always so my size so jaws no they are all important. Yes, Mr. Brew. Hello, Mr. Brew. Hello, Mr. Brew. Okay, Mr. Brew, NTNK. Mr. Samuel. Hello, Mr. Samuel. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. All right. In terms of diabetes, no, they make to sum up and say I should be in South. Okay, so in terms of diabetes, and something about the next one, they make say Your dietary pattern, most often your dietary pattern determines the kind of condition. What did you quantum upon lecture yarea okofa? Inti se opese obo by free. Wadaroma, but modern as much as possible, you eat raw food. Never leave a day without eating raw food. And then maintain a very healthy weight, very important. And then also make sure that you exercise. Exercise is very, very important. Now, as much as possible, when your sunlight to be kakra, morning sunlight, evening sunlight to be. Now, eating wow. Now, the quantity of food, no, as much as possible, eat in moderation. Don't abuse anything. Don't abuse food. If you abuse food, food is also abuse you. If you say hypocrisy, he who does not know food does not understand the disease of man. Sign a hypocrite, a kind. I'll say, he who does not know food does not understand the disease of man. The ontier duaniason, onim nipa and yarawa. The ontier duaniason, onim nipa and yarawa. And I will encourage, say, let's understand, let's eat moderation, add vegetables, exercise, don't abuse anything. I'm sure say, yes, I between a boy, ama and yarawa hodwa, we can either prevent or we can reduce it. Pacho, any questions? And if you last presentation, so any question? Okay. So question be no the anye. You last presentation, so now share what we have now is and also if management of hypertension. Be kasemo mujabroso. Na me bonita nam say breno isa p ni say bia ebetumi ebusubusa nsem ba ko bi enti ye ka hypertension ya ka nkasa me si mujabroso enti okay me pacho kasa
me da wase em say fruits ho asa na making okay bi say em say bi say produce minerals need vitamins be brave and at the same time so sugar levels so woman so answer was so enti fruits woman say what can say yen share ni sa no man and vegetables and so moderation is so account to her pa yes I can say bia kodu no e bia ayenti no ana say bofre bi say ayenti na say igusu ni ya win fu and so ye hu say ye di no so ye fa no wo ne kwaso na bibi say kodu ani sa no ma no emu pass one quantity mu no saying na pass per day no ye di a pese eboa because me hu obi ho no ma kodu no bia da ko no mi di be 6 ansa na wodi anasa bia 4 na 3 enti eno so no se na baka fa ho sucrose ansa fructose ho asem na mase.
Okay, in terms of how much you have to consume, say at the end of the also, as I said, no, it depends on your body weight and your physical activity. Because obi on ma me koda itetes kakra obi on ma sebia also di 1,800 calories. Obi also di 2,000 calories. Obi also di 2,500 calories. Obi also di 3,000 calories. Na ni nyina no ye calculate. In fact, say oba baby no ma so obi on ma e pese ebia yare bia on pese ye dia make calculate amount because averagely fruits, especially banana, medium size, it contains about 60 kilocalories. Even generally, most fruits, no, medium size may have about, small size may have about 60 kilocalories. Into calories, you be calculate. Ni actually be a way to do also di. But so when you're ready, only you're ready, at least 2 or 3 fingers can be fine. That's the general recommendation. Nyadia is so much we because you'll be eating other ubeti nearby ahodo so and be boa ama when you're near ahodo na nipaduano and so ehian. So that is a few things I'll say about it. Maybe unless if you have further clarification, any other thing be a person who can one.
I think it's okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So NTA share Mujabruson, but before they able to let me say yeah man share man and yes it can also form the genesis of diabetes.
Michael,
yeah, Mr. Brew. Hello, Mr. Brew. Hello, Mr. Brew. Hello, Mr. Brew. Okay. All right. If you don't want our children to come and contract diseases, if you don't want them to spend their money on drugs, then we have to be very careful.
Sorry,
Mr. Brew, go ahead.
Now question. Now maybe saying vitamin D, aduane bia etumi ma vitamin D. Ubetumi ma recommendation wo.
Okay. In fact, vitamin D foods no are very limited. But then egg yolk idea, from what I understand, or some vitamin D. Egg yolk. In fact, vitamin D foods are very limited. But what I know off head here, egg yolk in general, no tima vitamin D. And yes, idea most often, I don't know the production more like cholecalciferol converted into active form. And the amount of vitamin D, but then egg yolk and enjoy morning sunlight and as forth because they work hand in hand with calcium. These two, it work hand in hand with calcium. And see, egg yolk is also important. Even though when you read some of the literature, I can tell you say in your neighbor a bit more vitamin D so, but may not be much. But egg yolk there is one thing off head I can tell you, but the others there, unless I read the literature and see nameshe and no mahodona emano.
It's quite unfortunate. Say, na vegetarian for no so woman the egg no so yeah na and so a proud.
And yes, in the same time I do be a amount 45 foods. In any one it be a day vitamin B12 because normally some vegetarians will more challenge, especially most of them, the vitamin B12 a bit of a challenge. Vitamin B12 and sometimes even iron because iron your him and non him everybody plant source, but then maybe an iron still a level or form. But thanks be to God in terms of protein, then I'm soybean contain all the 8 essential amino acids, iron and the person may not like, but then vitamin B12 sometimes a challenge. And sometimes the amount some medication, some drugs if you on manasibia in your nibia sheda is 45 vitamin B12. Sometimes people need to man with more vitamin B12.
Yeah, that's.
And I even try iron in pono. And I'm saying iron enhancing food, BCBA, citrus fruits, say anka, even tomato scrub, some amount of vitamin C, and I'm a cool crab some amount of vitamin C. And also it's me bois, many pansunya, it's me absorb plant source, iron never plant foods anymore. And tea. I do a beer and no become challenge, but then eating some of these things, boy reduce some of this boy reduce deficiency anemia. All right, so as I was saying, we should be careful with the food that we introduce to our children because their health, their future disease depends on what you give to them. If the organs now depend on what you are giving to them right from the onset. And that's a few I can say. And then nutrition pregnancy is also very important. Maybe one day we have to discuss or talk about nutrition in pregnancy, and we can understand some of the disease that come as a and I'm saying your organs form you whilst in our mother's womb. Now, young hypertension, you monitor quickly now, you find diet plans. Hypertension generally say ubi you say like a chronsa, afi yawo so wakuma ne boa bonifen systolic just a bo wakuma no relax here bonifen say diastolic wakuma no relax enti eno no your reference range I will just say now the ideal reference range we say is between 120-80, but then sometimes age sometimes because boy my father 140 to boy 80 years 19 or 140 I don't think say so much of a big deal. But then if you are too young, that's a blood pressure between 140/90 there, then there is a cause of concern. Now, as I said, definition, which it depends on the age. Now, normally the ideally should be less than 120/80. Now, in terms of hypertension, there, your stage 1, your stage 2. And stage 1, depending on your age, maybe 140 to 159. Bra come abon, and that is systolic. And that is to come relax here, a home here, between 92 and 99. And it makes us okay, maybe a stage 1. Then stage 2, maybe above 169, so come boy, above 160, and we then we suspect it be a systolic hypertension, not severe diastolic, severe form the more than 100. Now, you will be a friend, be a target organ damage. Obu onoma na kwa bia na kwa bitimi SI because ebia you can say or mujabroso ebia obu onoma onimo to akwa ne senkwa dia and ye oba tiano ebia you stage 1 you stage 2 nti eno no you won senchene da na ho di e wo honom. Now obu onkro ba hospital kura na wonya stroke no then you stage 3 obu onkro ba bi kura na kidney na send ye straight away because most of some disease yare wise bia o sabe say ana say obu onoma can say obenya stroke no ni nyina edu ba bia na some these things enti obu onoma ba na the organ ni bi onoma damage kra na say o how about ho and you because you are in stage 3. Now if mujabroso no your mal definition mal your moderate, but this one's is more clinical and so now so check your pressure no now say 128 at least every 2 years you must check. And I say between 120 to 139, 180 to every year you have to check. In fact, it's something I'll say every year you have to check. Fortunately for you, dear, more GPR at any point from say also back check up. But in Ghana, not there. In fact, it's something Obu cry from Sikan or idiotry. So it's something I'm also checking because if your pressure is around 140, 159, then it means that almost every 2 months we are also checking. Now, sometimes you must have the machine with you all the time. But if it's say very high idea, then you must have the machine. But you shouldn't be anxious. That's how about now. And essentially, na obi pressure cost route me. Obu on man, it me ya kakra. Obu on ma onani kakra bi ano abre. Obu on so na nisu ti bri no. Obu on so nani so wisi. Obu on so aba se onkaya de oka bi bia se onkonhyira nkai no ma bia. Obu on so no bre. Obu on se nakoma osnakoma ne ya. Yo nsenchani pi obu on ma utimi eda na di. Ena yewo you can say the cover by and the cover by obu on ma ewabusuam obu on so bread do tino because do be betia bagana beto wi na oba na rest you are giving yourself rest stress it be more it me ekobaba it me decide on ba and obu on so onum cigarette obu on so ne mu odubro so ne mu odu so obesity nso aba behunu wa ha stress chia de ba no obesity nso aba behunu wa ha sei one so onye hwe the person is physically inactive but for akosa no bu one so udiniania sodium dawson here sodium is key na sodium yana popular na enchene but then most often canned foods no all the can't say as you protect you from complication diabetes so near born by free your outdoors here so timi kofa ban it will one sodium canned foods no bottle food because no most often we use sodium to preserve canned and bottle foods most often and but then if you want to say be a review ni pan water dada maybe this how na dem abreno enti eno de eno no yenya time nkom bebre and you born ma if it's essential hypertension no you need the cover by you need the buy so almost about 90 to 95% of mujaproso no you need the buy but about 5 to 10% there sometimes we know the risk factors. I know so at the end your friend is secondary hypertension. Now risk factors have been so and some then psychosocial stress. Ubu maybe I'm fan say or yeah you might maybe or exams and ubu cribia family issues. It be on new maybe and by hano sometimes it's me this how one crime fans or be funny or fast be and I baby about brucho Hanisa and I will cry you how it in my sour hunt no one for Cassam. The Kaiser Ghana say recently banks here collapse CB and see minimum crop a stroke, a hypertension, a lot of them because it's Kenyan cotton. Now, in terms of what you observe is most often somebody share hospital obu munya mujabroswa afi emano high calcium drugs emano calcium ibia potassium simply because these things and sometimes say you know we say of former calcium or former or magnesium or former or potassium or former it will be it mean or pressure it me a cost in your no way you're very key. It's very, very, very important in sometimes the development of the condition, apart from other risk factors. And then obi on swa udi nuane asrade do so and so team as how han so etimi ba. And omnivores versus vegetarian. Vegetarians in fact, yeah, now the rate of hypertension very low. There is a very unlike mudi and nam enuane no. And if it's a Barker's hypothesis, in fact, this study was conducted in University of Southampton, Professor Barker. Omo follow nkrofo I mean obu onma abra omamenyem no omamenya saa how na obenyini no saa how so timinya saa how no bi enti I wish one day we discuss the Barker's hypothesis in details in future. And obu onso about no low birth weight so in future be no obetimi develop saa condition we na you say before so ya dia omunya saa how we change abrofo no ye. Now as I said no ebi on ma let me jump and then now in the management no let me go on to the management. Now in the management no your baby your group A for omudi obuama no risk factor, no target organ damage or no clinical so and so disease on your no say normal, you don't need any dietary, you just only need lifestyle changes. And obuam so group B for the ABI or one risk factor be or one or the other obuam the bushim, then it means that you can still use the lifestyle to reduce. And obuam so group C for the obuam or target organ damage and also some other underlying conditions there, you have to still add drug to it. If you want need any underlying condition, but pressure and also lifestyle alone can help you to manage it. And let me go down and then we can still go ahead. Now, yabo tie back up and say, but type say, Ubi was share pese, Ubu Mujabroswa, yabo tie say, did can say, the pressure less than 140/80. Now, always share now so chronic kidney disease here, CKD, be pressure around 130/80. Now, in the management, your non-pharmacological management, a diet and exercise, which is also independent. Then we have diet and exercise and then pharmacological management. They born crana surgical because we born ma also no do also man sutinate me abwa. Enti therapeutic life such now say tender loving care. You must show tender if you want to manage hypertension very well. You must show tender loving care, and showing tender loving care no make us a therapeutic lifestyle changes. And no yabeka ho asem kakra bi. Now, so bu amujabro so na person bi amujabro so a osotia you are able to reduce your systolic pressure by 5 to 20 millimeter mercury. So who adopted lifestyle difference dash diet, dietary approach to stop hypertension, dash diet, dietary approach to stop hypertension, and to reduce your systolic pressure by 8 to 14 millimeter mercury. And as one more 10 inch it want to reduce the millimeter mercury by 2 to 8 milligram mercury. And the bones of physical activity or tension upon so and to me boa emma the pressure and also as to meet ye. And the bones are uja in sanum cry. In fact, let me say it emphatically say, according to WHO says that there is no safe level in consumption of alcohol. According to WHO say, you need any emphasobia obino monsa it me edi brain enti eno nsanom de make say alabraka e free me between boy. So if you're able to just follow some of these things, a weight reduction, adopt dash diet eating habitat now to so and as near sodium do so more look at the rate at which you can reduce your or you can prevent hypertension. All these things are also about the management and the hypertension. Now in terms of therapeutic lifestyle changes, so also you expect to reduce weight, and yeah, it's not negotiable. Now, maybe we say dash diet. Dash diet simply means dietary approach to stop hypertension. DASH. That's a dash diet now. Dash diet means dietary approach to stop hypertension. Now, dash diet net component in say in your body also womb and hammer also vegetables also and then nuts, say beer, groundnuts, coconuts, other nuts I can think of cashew nut, and then a person uses fish for some time. Now, in low fat dairy foods, and no, say milk, either skim or low fat. Me patchwenum dear, it will be a oko chef, so milk now use no. So for me, I even recommend plant-based and milk because over there you can get soya bean milk, you can get almond milk, you can get other milk plant-based even including tiger nut milk. Very important. And the diet no say and study woman obet so now and as much as possible you reduce or you avoid net now sugar sweetened beverages at least you reduce or you prevent them, and that is important. Then sodium no dear hanum dear make say via kobe momoni and then chashe kobe momonic kuspeku beef. And sometimes they call food chef so can foods no. Normally sodium is used as a preservative material too. In terms also of 10 tomato or canned tomatoes there's good amount of sodium and sugar. So research has shown say in Shimacha say reduce sodium level to 1.5 gram daily. 1.5 gram, 1.5 gram now. Be less than a teaspoon. In fact, a day if it's less than a teaspoon, and quantity boil oppression so 8 minutes. Then for alcohol, I won't say moderation because WHO in 2019 or 2012 say there is no safe level in consumption of alcohol. But then sometimes because it will be more addictive, and then I'll say moderation. In Tiano Rebecca say one something, but I wouldn't say. So that is something few. So in the management, in terms of dash diet, they are all there. Reduce your sodium intake. In your any sansano, or to snap woman and your bano and your man adults. This is the case whereby it's any other condition apart from hypertension. But it's always CRD, and then there will be modification in this case a bit. But then sometimes when you follow dash diet now, you can still use to manage your DM diabetes because diabetes low glycemic index diet plan and so on. And with hypertension, dash diet, and let's continue. Reduce your fat and oil intake. And I make us say, and actually pee. Yeah, hanum dear, say mass above fruit, Kelly will no. I don't know your place, but I'm sure say much be brave. And deep fried foods, as much as possible, we have to avoid it altogether. I think it's about boy. And see, basically reduce your salt intake, and then take in fruit, limit your alcohol consumption. These are some few things. And then as much as possible, exercise. And I think say yes, no kakra we are. If it's a more in fact, you born my into me and Casibia onion or born more nama, then recommend say take in only fish. Now Sibia meat grana any lean, the is radian everyone MY. So I think that these are some of the few things a beboy am I to me a boy home by a free mujabroso and a area home. Now, and no my do be a me control a pressure. No. One, poor compliance, that's non-compliance. Obuon ma is where became an only so ye be won't hear na into only so Obuon ma the Cassientino on percent the Cassian and effect, meaning Papa Bia or saying the Cassian and so no can you so and can pressure bit me a conformo into only could study what and so you could per se why I can say man, ne share Nikunanimunyam. To do baby also it's me boy. And NSAID drug, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and so some of the drugs painkillers ni bo ma it may contribute to some of these things. So and salt intake, alcohol, tobacco, coffee, any antidepressant, and a warm swat. Also in the Bema be born mommy fancy be a kind of man do pressure drugs in the Bema be. Sometimes it's not true, some way, somehow. And the ones are faith healing, just say, oh, or Jinyamiti. The first also Yamiti in Chesaman no true. And I said the first don't eat well. Because Bible say faith without works is dead. GD and human no GD we and say, oh GD, that's a one young what you might say GD we say, open so call land, open so call US. That one apply for visa. How can you go there? You can't go and live there. And see, I know a few things I want to emphasize. Say we should be careful with faith, and then fake drugs. And no be brought ma a fake. And the ancient who ye. And see, Mama Quina as I be on ma.
Mike, we got slide 21, 22. No, be so so 2 slides.
Okay, slide 21 and 22. Okay, that's 21.
Go back one more.
Menko 22 no so.
20. Sorry, 20.
20, okay. I menko 20. Okay, slide 20. No, I think that Mr. Eric in South Street over to me. Mr. Eric, Pacho.
Yeah, Doc, Pacho. Yeah, that's it. Right, we are in Yamisha Power. I see how they ask them. Pacho, me concern make a share walk. Yeah, my friend, I owe more Europe. I come here, send your kind. We are near what he did. Colano do na compared to Ghana and Colano, almost vegetables. No, what do you have in a crown? Almost person be even pizza crown, a son of man who more color of the name, my student obeying in a few hours. I come here, some Colani now. What did any problem? Casewa. And teacher crying, landing her class there, and now come up by the Ahodisha then in KFC, McDonald's, and all this. Yes, sometimes I don't know when you do. And Jimmy, my son says, "Quite bad, you first way and may you bet me a woman or money I Jimmy and near. Though, and yet that dear baby, so no, or more pomodi or more ever born with that, think I say. As I say, I'm better this animal, no my way now, being now for fire, really. Though I know what this I say, I Jehovah, but I'm a friend of himself can't think when you know, my Jimmy, the Dobia. A quite be or say half ball, by and share Bianca, almost every children's day, and you baby. Invite you, you'll be Nanka or church, but I'm a woman who say, when a year, when sometimes you cry or for a said, I need her. Sending him on Colabia, you teach a dictation, and I'm putting out for sometimes I had a so and yes, I'm naturally so. And in fact, myself, no, myself, this I know that.
Okay, and generally, make I say, inquiry in general, Nangsano, vegetables, yana or mompe. Vegetables, and tea, hanum, de, the bear and quama, obenum, Ghana, the bear and quama, obenum, by more the moment time. But in general, the inquiry in general vegetables, mama, or money, copim bribi, to moment the end, the yana, a and should I problem peace, but then sometimes they they started for complementary feeding and so on. And a more liking to because in the more alongside with breast milk after 6 months and not woman to do and until a moon now finance and so the genesis is that we have to then learn how to introduce, you have to then learn proper complementary food introduction, proper complementary food. In the moment after 6 months, in addition to the breast milk, it should be something. It should be family foods. It should not be too salty. It should not be too peppery. It should not be too sugary. Where sana, then you are creating because that's the foundation of the child's feeding. And he said, "Oh, produce proper complementary feed now. Now a bottle one have a baby no. Now if you need how so sometimes I tell people say." Instead of those, just sometimes you can blend the fruit, add the fruit to any other thing that you want to give to your child. Now, when you're natural sugar is not like refined sugar. So you have to learn proper way of proper complementary, feeding. Now, I think say there are no chance but for the meantime, I think that let's have a family food. Yeah, the family should eat together. So be a wood, if say, and penny for say. Baby, I could generate on the basujina. In the wood in above, the child also be interested to eat. Because I know that Santa out there, or back at Abon said the wood also be shenanum. And the old young is Abon say the child learns to eat. it's a way of teaching the child tradition into on the American one. But as you said, I think that health one be taken into consideration. Maybe in future be an my side no. Madam Rebecca, Patron South. Hello, Madam Rebecca.
Oh, yeah. Me pacho doctor, ye me bisani say bia. Na me yare na mako hospital no mama me say ye di me to say I'm low dipping and na say austrovastatin. Eso. How long NSS me dasa imro no so? Mitimi jai and na say me life mu nyina say ye medro.
You me that say. No question me woman say. Dr. Bikachem say, and I said from the studies I've done so far, the reason why it's here, your ma patients do say patients are very stubborn. So I can say, could di eduanu na on towa. Ubuoma he or she doesn't have the patient. He will go back to her old life. I mean, in Crawford, you manage your mo bibia, momo sugar, and then you can say, pressure call from. Into a call from so much to home. Yes, no. You have to maintain the new dietary lifestyle now, the amount. But as a pama refuse, now if you know economy, okodi did no have na asha say a cost. And I'm saying patients are someone we introduce drug, but that is not only that thing. But sometimes you have to introduce a drug. How long should I take the drug? Momo your friends say medical practice, but and I did because recently there was one patient in fact, for consistently the sugars and then the pressure has been normal. So I wrote back to doctor say the doctor should review the drugs. So because I feel like the patient complying the diet and lifestyle management into all review drug normal short duration. Now for young and we can wean him off from the medication. Unfortunately for you, your case, I know GPI then Afro. It is of frewa, that's a drug, no now feel say with pressure content going down. I think that the patient should be in a position to reduce it, and with time, no, if you comply the diet and lifestyle management now, as you said, no, normally you don't know the cause of some of these conditions. They are all risk factors. Most of them are all risk factors. They go be on man, your pressure becomes normal because pressure be normal. Now cause no pressure drew. Now also no share drew. And we know how I then but I know some one of them say medical legalities no strong in Tino. Yeah, they are very careful. Unlike our case. And for me, I always tell people say, so if you can only comply with diet and lifestyle management now, when you go, you discuss with the doctor because there's what we call patient right. When you discuss with the doctor will then go through his nose and then see how on which me aboa. Not until your doctor has told you to maybe reduce or stop it, I would say don't stop it. But as you go along, now if you say a normal, your doctor would know what to do. And that's what I would say.
Okay. Thank you.
Pacho, Mr. Eric, Pacho on South Road.
Pacho, no, I can't.
Okay, all right. So any other
slide 21 and 22, man.
Oh, okay, slide 21 and 22.
Next one. Next.
Okay, 21. Pacho 21.
Not 22.
Okay, 22.
Okay. So, Pacho Donasis.
Thank you so much. I think say the Dr. Pacho SA around here. Pacho Mesram said we are your PM program. And he stay on course. Pacho Menko baby. Dr. Pacho Tuaso.
All right. It's a question being on there. Meda Munina Masi say Moton Safre Mena Madame Penny. Yeah, Madame Rebecca. Pacho wa on house Pacho Bitu Akasa.
Makasa did that.
Okay. Now Pacho
Dr. Pacho, don't me person who say consultation, and can we recommend someone to you as well?
Yeah, I do online consultation. Then I do physical consultation. Physical consultation, idea. My office so Kumasi Francho. Kumasi Francho. Chroma Francho na making. Mama nim Kumasi Kakrano. Chroma Francho na making. My office honum USA Junction. Udra Francho. A Francho Junction, friend USA Junction. USA Junction. Mini Junction directly opposite. Office in Dinde. J Nutrition and Dietetics Consult. J Nutrition and Dietetics Consult. And the Sanam office in the Afrancho USA Junction. I'm just opposite the junction. I say Afrancho Police Station. Afrancho Police Station, no. You're the third building from the Afrancho Police Station on your way back to Kumasi. And then I told me, who are Afrancho Police Station now? And then I told me, as I said, Uber Kumasi, no. I want an office, no, so then I also have online consultation. I also do. You can also recommend anybody to access my service, whether be online or physical. And there is allowed because good health is important for everybody.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Mpacho, so you can leave your number and your details, with Dr. Ahi. He will contact you. For the very last time, there's a question on the forum. It says, are herbal medicine good for treating high blood pressure? But if you answer that one, that would be good for us, and we'll just call it a day for our PM program.
Okay. You only say, I say, dietitian, I'll condemn herbal medicine or orthodox medicine. They are all good, but sometimes it depends on the quantity. Quantity is very, very important. This time in Obagana has here, your herbal medicine, Oko Tafu Government Hospital. We have the herbal doctors. Yesterday training on more herbal drugs are very good. Oko Atonsu South Government Hospital, Atonsu Regional Hospital, and your herbal medicine unit on my yesterday training doctors. How manage the right dosage. But a bit more, no training, question mark on kakra. And if you get the right person, it will be fine. But then for me, normally I go for the orthodox. I don't know whether because I'm a dietitian but I think that proper idea, why not? You can still follow it. And see, finally, now I will say, let your food be your medicine, and your medicine also be your food. And you can't fix your health until you fix your diet. And then your piece of health can also be drawn from your dining table. So let your food be your medicine, medicine also be your food. Timida muni na amase say muni abre na utie. I think that the my number na 0261314960. Anti konya yin to no. Timida amase doc mida was mpanimfo amaka nyina so muni na amase say muni abre na utie. Nyame hwam nyina.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. The Okayana me the power was like 22. Says soup like light okra can be taken daily. And see Emma soup. My BP no enko form. Dr. Eda Asipa, Dr.
No Maggie, please.
No Maggie.
Dr. Ray, take over.
You we say the doc. Yeah, I'm sure this is the beginning of a lot of good relationships we're going to build with you, and this is just the beginning. We are in an online world. And there is no borders. And we're going to have that infusion of ideas, and we're going to follow up. May I sure say we say we are just the beginning. And to my hand, my health and temperance ministry leader, I have no name. Health and temperance ministry, Nasia na Amo.
Okay, Dr. Vedasi, Bebre, Dr. Michael Wiafe, Southeast Church, that's 6. And then we are one my young who never be brave, so you didn't ever be brave for. As you said, our health it's our food. Yeah, that's it. Nyame nhyira wo. Health team so da obi ase. Members so non-members so mutimi ba beboa no padwumade nyina ya da mase. Dr. Ahin Nyame nhyira wo so invited Dr. Wiafe. Enyina yetimi ama program yakwa wie ye Awurade adomara kwa yeda na se ne wama homeda yi yenye nhyira bebre afiri mu ose yenhwi ni padua so yie ne ebetimi account for it nti yesra ne so ma ya hoden yetimi dia ye de ope eda ase bebre amen.